He likes weird food.
Yeah, where's he eating his weird food tonight? Argentina, Morocco?
Akron.
Ohio?
When it comes to food, we hear about weird stuff going on all the time. But just because it sounds fake doesn't mean that it is. Here are 15 bizarre food facts that are hard to believe.
I said no lies.
I think he's telling the truth.
Ketchup was medicine.
Did we take too much cold medicine?
Going back to the early 1800s, people strongly believed that ketchup had medicinal qualities. This was all thanks to Dr. John Cook Bennett, who in 1834 added tomatoes to ketchup, claiming it could cure diseases like diarrhea, indigestion, rheumatism, and jaundice. This belief led to a 15-year period during which tomato sauce was sold as a form of medication.
I'm gonna get you the finest medical treatment available.
Crazy to think that nowadays most doctors would tell you to stay away from ketchup due to the health hazards. But back then, they would have prescribed it to you. A little later, the tomato ketchup recipe was turned into a tomato pill, and the market for ketchup as medicine had collapsed by the 1850s. People just couldn't resist putting the sweet stuff on their food, and it became one of the leading condiments all over the world.
Okay, be careful. That stuff's addictive.
Humans and bananas share DNA.
Your DNA test shows one living relative.
We often like to imagine that as human beings, we're the superior species because we're so different from the rest of the fauna and flora. But surprise, we're not that different as we share about 60% of our DNA with bananas. Okay, we're not saying that people are actually more than half banana, but we do share some similarities between all the living things on Earth, including plants.
It's not my decision, it's Mother Nature.
Our genes are composed of over 3 billion building blocks, which are surprisingly not that unique. And out of those billions, 60% are identical to that of a banana. The other 40%? Well, let's just say it's different enough to make us who we are.
I'm a banana. I'm a banana.
Fear of peanut butter.
Weird. Really weird.
As it turns out, there are some people who are afraid of peanut butter, but not because it doesn't taste good. Arachibutyrtrophobia is the fear of peanut butter sticking to the roof of your mouth. Sure, no one likes to have that pasty, sticky feeling preventing you from swallowing, but to have an irrational fear of it, that's a whole other story. Even though the odds of an adult choking on peanut butter are extremely low, it doesn't stop the symptoms from being triggered.
No chance.
There's always a chance.
Including heart palpitations, uncontrollable anxiety, and a fight-or-flight response when you're in a situation involving peanut butter. This very rare phobia might seem a bit extreme for avid peanut butter lovers, but just remember this: the chances of peanut butter killing you might be low, but they're never zero.
What's the most you ever lost on a coin toss? Sarah?
There's a black market for cheese.
There it is. The black market.
Everyone's heard of the black market, you know, where you can get that fancy watch with no questions asked. However, we bet most of you didn't know there was a black market for cheese. Indeed, cheese is, surprisingly enough, the most stolen food in the world. But why? Why does about 4% of all cheese made around the globe, an estimated 90.6 million tons, end up stolen?
Weird choice, but for you, I got it done.
Easy. The high demand, easy disposal, and it's easy to conceal. In recent years, there have been some seriously daring cheese heists that made a lot of money for the thieves. Grocery stores lock up your cheese, and people guard that stuff like it's treasure.
This is good cheese.
Get off my cheese!
Beer was once a soft drink.
Light beer, less calories.
Enjoying a beer on a Friday night out with your friends is something completely normal and accepted. Basically, it's a good, casual drink that should only be consumed in moderation. In Russia, however, up until 2011, they didn't have that standard. Until then, beer and any other alcohol under 10% ABV were classified as a soft drink and could be consumed on the streets and in parks, just like soda.
So, you guys drink beer?
It was sold everywhere soda was sold, like at public transport stops, gas stations, and airports, and could even be purchased by teenagers. It was former Russian President Dmitry Medvedev who signed the bill to classify beer as an alcoholic beverage in order to control its sale. Today, you can still see people on the streets with a beer in hand, but at least now they've acknowledged that it's not as harmless as soda.
Would you rather have beer or complete and utter contentment?
What kind of beer?
Food and bugs.
Why are you whispering?
I ate a bug.
We hate to break it to you, but you've most likely already eaten bugs at some point without even realizing it. That's because, according to the FDA, it's economically impractical and almost impossible to grow, harvest, or process raw products that are totally free of non-hazardous, naturally occurring, unavoidable defects. In other words, they can't stop insects from potentially getting in the food you eat, and getting rid of all of them would be too expensive.
You don't understand. Doing this stuff is very expensive.
In ground cinnamon, for instance, there could be an average of 400 insect fragments per 50 grams. And chocolate can have no more than 60 insect fragments per 100 grams. Of course, your food can contain a whole lot more gross stuff, but some things are better left unsaid.
Let's keep this our little secret.
Food on a plane tastes different.
Yeah, that's why I hate planes.
Okay, everybody knows that if you're flying in coach, your food won't taste that great. Or at least it won't taste like anything you would eat if you were on the ground. And while, yes, it might have something to do with the quality of the food, sometimes that's not the reason. Sometimes it's simply because altitude changes your body chemistry. How does it work? Basically, like the air inside the plane, your body is pressurized, which directly affects your senses, like smell and taste.
You're making it too complicated.
The combination of dryness and low pressure can reduce the sensitivity of your taste buds by around 30%, mostly involving sweet and salty foods. If you truly want to taste something while you're on a plane, try to go with sour, bitter, and spicy flavors. That should get your taste buds going nuts.
Now, baby, this should tickle your taste buds.
White chocolate is not chocolate.
That's impossible!
Obviously, it probably won't come as such a surprise to hear that white chocolate isn't actually chocolate. Yes, the name is deceiving since white chocolate doesn't have any components of regular chocolate. It's simply a mix of sugar, milk, vanilla, lecithin, and cocoa butter that contains no cocoa particles whatsoever.
The world will never be the same.
What it's also missing are compounds that are supposedly responsible for the pleasure-giving effects of chocolate. Maybe that's why chocoholics' cravings are never satisfied by white chocolate. But nevertheless, technically, white chocolate cannot qualify as chocolate.
There he is. There's a traitor. Traitor!
Popsicles were invented by accident.
This is the greatest accident of my life.
Is there anything better on a hot day than a sweet, cool popsicle? The most impressive fact about these little gems is that they were actually invented by an 11-year-old boy from the Bay Area back in the early 1900s. Young Frank Epperson accidentally left a mixture of soda and water with a wooden stick outside in a cup overnight.
Hey, sleepy bear.
What time is it?
Since it was a cold night, the mixture froze and the world was changed forever. He began selling them around his neighborhood, and as he grew up, he expanded his sales by the 1920s to Neptune Beach, an amusement park nearby. They were sold under the name Epsicles until his children started calling them Popsicles, and the rest is history.
Well, every journey has to start somewhere.
Fake wasabi?
I got wasabi in places where one should never get wasabi.
Who else here has made the mistake of chowing down on the little green paste that comes with sushi plates, unaware of the consequences? Yep, probably more than one. But it might surprise you to learn that all this time, most wasabi you've encountered, even at fancy, authentic Japanese restaurants, was fake. Indeed, over 99% of wasabi sold in the United States and 95% of wasabi sold in Japan is fake.
Nothing that we had was real.
Well, It was all fake.
Instead of the real thing, most restaurants and grocery stores will sell a mix of horseradish, mustard powder, and food coloring to make you feel like you're eating real wasabi. This is mostly because of how rare, challenging to make, and expensive wasabi actually is. Since wasabi usually comes for free at restaurants, offering the real thing would simply be impossible. So chances are you don't actually know what real wasabi tastes like.
Wow, that's interesting.
Not all wine is vegan.
Freeze! Vegan police! Vegan police!
You would think that with grapes as the main ingredient, wine being vegan would be a no-brainer. However, it turns out that a lot of wines aren't as innocent as we thought. It's all about how the wine is clarified and a process called fining. Wine producers will usually use fining agents to help the clarifying process along. The only problem? The agents often used are casein, milk protein, albumin, egg whites, gelatin, animal protein, and isinglass, fish bladder protein.
What are you trying to say?
These cannot, of course, be considered vegan or even vegetarian friendly, which is why you should always be wary of the kind of wine you buy. At least these days, most producers are choosing to let the wine self-clarify and self-stabilize by themselves, which means a step forward in making the majority of wines vegan.
It's good to know. Thanks.
Popcorn at the movies isn't universal.
Aha, he's kidding. Popcorn?
When you go to the movie theater and you're feeling a little peckish, popcorn is probably your go-to snack, right? But as common as movie popcorn is in America, on the grand scale, things are quite different. If you go out for a movie night in Colombia, for example, hormiga culona, aka dried ants, will be the snack of choice. Imagine reaching for your date's hand in a bucket of ants.
Oh my god, I ate an ant! Oh, I just ate another one!
At South Korean concession stands, the star is dried cuttlefish, which is also popular in other Asian countries, as well as roasted chestnuts. In China, salted plums, which are dehydrated and pickled, sunflower seeds, prunes, and dried shredded squid all stand in for popcorn. Of course, you can always munch on your favorite pretzels, nachos, and M&Ms, but just know that you'll probably have to bring them yourself.
Don't forget to give us your extra snacks, because as you know, we work for peanuts.
There's a $12,000 pizza.
Pizza? No, I don't want pizza.
The most expensive pizza in the world, believe it or not, clocks in at $12,000. The Louis XIII pizza was created in Salerno, Italy by Renato Viola for a very select crowd. The hefty price tag comes from both the premium ingredients it's made with and the 72 hours it takes to prepare.
I can't wait that long.
The chef will show up at your house, ready to make the beast with 3 types of caviar, buffalo mozzarella, 7 other types of cheese, lobster, mantis shrimp, prawns, and Australian pink salt. The feast also comes with a bottle of brandy and a bottle of the rarest, most expensive cognac on the market. This will probably set you back a lot more than your usual Domino's order, that's for sure.
I got a little something special for you.
Ranch is dyed.
I lied to my father. I lied to myself.
It's no secret that in America, we eat ranch with everything. Wings, fries, and even pizza. The only thing that might make some people stop eating the sweet nectar could be its ingredients list. More precisely, the thing they put into making it whiter. You see, ranch dressing contains titanium dioxide, an ingredient often used in body care items such as face lotions and sunscreens, as well as paint.
It does sound a little dangerous.
While the FDA allows titanium dioxide to be in food without exceeding 1% of the product, there are some studies linking ranch and inflammation of the gut. The good news is that even though this occurs in most brands of ranch and other white-hued dressings like Caesar, you can always check on the label to see if it's listed.
Check him. Double check him. Triple check him. Quadruple.
accidental tea bags.
You don't have any tea bags or coffee grounds to go in the hot water, do you?
It's true that not everybody loves using tea bags, as they feel like they're almost blasphemous. But you've got to admit, they make preparing tea a lot easier. Simply add hot water and enjoy your tea without any bits of loose leaves. And funnily enough, this creation was invented completely by accident. It dates back to the early 1900s in Milwaukee, when Mary Molerin and Roberta Lawson were looking for a way to brew smaller quantities of tea without having to waste the leaves needed to brew a whole pot.
Just think about it. Just be smart.
They came up with a cotton mesh bag, but the idea failed miserably. After a few years, the gauze bag sent out by Thomas Sullivan to sell his tea samples finally took off, and we got the version of tea bags that we know and almost all love today in the 1950s, when kitchen duties became all about efficiency.
Time is money, Peaches.
Check out more great videos. Just tap or click. Hit that subscribe button and ring that notification bell.